Manish. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Monica. So let us just do a quick recap of what we did
Okay.
yesterday.
We were on slide 26 or somewhere, yeah.
27. So we
Yes.
started with overview of CISM certification, and
Yes.
we covered what all would be covered. What was the objective of the certification, and after completion of CISM, the CISM domain structure, that is 4 domains, and how is the flow of information structured in this course. Yeah. So about the exam and how how many questions you will be asked, things like, and then I recommended some material and categorize it to what is a must read, what you should read, and what you could read. Then it is a gold level certification. It has a global recognition, and getting a CSM qualification itself is a very big achievement as far as information security management domain is concerned.
Yes.
So we moved on to domain one after that, and we continued the overview of that particular domain. So the agenda of the module is governance. Basically, the domain one focuses on governance, and when we are talking of governance, we are talking at a bigger picture, a very bigger picture, because information security is a top-down feature.
Approach. Yeah.
Now, the learning objectives. Thereafter, the what is
Yes.
relevant. You are supposed to be getting about 48 questions from this particular domain. So it is important what all tasks you should maybe employed as for after you qualified the certification. Knowledge statements, priorities. So we definitely discussed that what is the fundamentals of information security. We discussed about CIA, non-repudiation, compliance, access control, privacy. We have not so much about privacy. I will be covering it in subsequently, because it's a very important topic these days, the privacy. Yeah. So all these are the important things which the security is all about. Now we were actually on discussing about the governance overview, and we had reached till here. We had not reached up till here. We had reached up till there, 26 slide, and we were actually discussing about information security governance and what exactly is governance, how good governance can change the entire company itself, the entire enterprise itself, and small changes can make big impact at a governance level, because it is a global change which we are bringing, not a local level change. So that is why the governance is very important, and it changes the culture itself. It changes the way a particular organization aligns. So if tomorrow you change the head of the Google and his focus is on some other aspect, the entire organization actually aligns then based on that. So that is the impact of minor changes at governance level, bringing major changes at ground. And that is what the structure in the initially with the arrow we have seen, that how from the top the down bottom changes. Now another important so any questions you have from up till what we have covered, any doubts which came to you in your mind later on and you want to ask now?
No, from yesterday's session, I do not have any question. However, I attempted a few questions which were there in the which Piyush sent, and it was on the starting of domain one. There was like self-assessment question, 10 questions. I attempted to those, and I have a few questions onto that, because there was little confusion there. But I don't know whether we want to take it right now or we want to take it up at the end of the session.
I think at the end of the domain, we will be doing question and answer session. So once we have
Okay.
covered all the topics and
Okay,
all
okay.
the things. However, if whatever we have covered till now, if it is covering that part, then we will definitely have discussion. But otherwise, we will be unnecessary. What I'm going to cover subsequently, I will be explaining now, and then
Yeah. Okay, okay. Makes sense. I was just attempting those self assessment question, which is given in the beginning of the domain,
yeah,
10
yeah, yeah.
questions.
No, no, not a
And
problem.
yeah,
That is always a
and I
good.
realized that maybe
Yeah.
thinking process needs to be changed here. So I thought that I'll have a discussion with you. But we can have discussion later. That's not an issue, Manish. I have
Yeah.
noted down those questions.
Yeah. So, yes, as I was saying yesterday, it is more of mindset, and it is more of the way we analyze a particular problem. That is where the certification wants us to be a little more critical at a managerial level. And you're definitely right that aim of the certification, fundamental aim is to develop a mindset of a manager and to analyze things from a high level perspective, and not only from the implementation perspective, because most of the people who will be undertaking this are mostly from the IT background, IT domain, so they understand, the ISACA understands this problem, although it is not all restricted to for IT professionals, but the majority who try to do this certification have some IT background, so they ISACA understands that issue, and that is why it keeps on the maximum emphasis is to develop that mindset from implementer side. Now you have to graduate and do a change of the role and become a manager, and in that area, when we are talking for information security, most of the organization have a very skewed teams. There are not many players. You have to manage a very small, you are given a very small team. However, the responsibility is not small. It remains the same of any other domain, and the entire enterprise information security is dependent on that small team. So you may have a centralized kind of a mechanism, or you may have distributed kind of a mechanism. Whatever mechanism the company or the enterprise decides, eventually the team size does not have sufficient manpower, neither the sufficient resources or in terms of money and is provided. So there is where the role of a manager becomes very, very
Yes, yes.
Going to next slide. So again, what I was just saying, it's the slide says the same thing, that as a manager, you should be able to sell the importance of information security at every level. And when you see that a mature organization exists, because whenever a client will come and do business with you, he will be looking at the processes which you follow, and when his trust, his trust is very important. And if he sees that yours is a mature organization, it takes security by design, takes security into consideration from the very starting phase itself. The customer is assured that he is giving his important information into safe hands, and that is how you build trust, and that is how it improves relationship and gives business. So that is a very important pointer for any information security manager to convince the top man. It protects organization's reputation, it goes without saying, and better accountability for safeguarding information during critical business act. Now, again, this is a very important aspect, that all your critical business activities, they needs to be safeguarded first, and that we will be talking in the domain 2 in detail. In fact, the entire domain 2 focuses on this aspect, sir. And definitely the final result should be that there is never 100% security, there is always a residual risk. So when there is a residual risk, the reduction in loss, so we never say that we will prevent 100% prevent the loss, but we will definitely reduce the losses. We will prevent incidents becoming so big that it impacts at the enterprise. We will definitely try to curb the boundaries of an incident by handling it better, and we will not let it become a disaster, or it is a natural disaster. Then how? So all this, which is domain 4. So all this is what is the very important points of selling the information security.
Okay.
Yeah. So as a CISM, you must understand that effective information security governance at the very apex level, the minor changes brings major changes at the ground. So now, but how do you do it? That is again in a theory. It is a theoretical statement. But how to actually do it on ground at the governance level? What should you do? Now for that, you should have a strategy, and the strategy has to be developed based on the present state. Now, again, the strategy, when we talk of strategy, we are talking of a time frame for somewhere between 3 to 5 years, right? It's a long term time. So it all depends on the organization that what time frame they keep. But normally it says a 5 years time frame, 3 to 5 years time. Now, in what is your present state and what is the desired state after 5 years, you see your particular company to be, and what is the gap. So when you do this gap analysis and you say, okay, from this point we want to reach after 5 years to that point, and the gap is this, we have to develop a roadmap to reach to that point, and each roadmap has certain objective associated to it, and as and when we are meeting those objectives, all right, so we should be able to have a very clear objectives firstly, that so we say smart objectives, it's a very common term. And when we make smart goals and smart objectives, what simple measurable objectives will lead, one will lead to another will lead to the other your objective, and finally you will reach the destination, that is the desired state. So you started from the present state and you are ending up to the desired state, and at the same time you are also having a matrix where you are monitoring it and you are reporting it to people, and you are reporting it to people that you are off track or you are on track or you are good to go. So that is a everyday affair, or you can say every month you have to review. So amount of reviews again depends on the criticality of that function, but every time you are reviewing your plan and you are improvising, and that is why it is called a program. It is a high level program which as a CISM you are headmastering, and if you are getting into the role of security manager, to develop an information security strategy, plan of action to implement, right?
Okay.
So when we are talking again, we are very passionate. The problem with humans is that we are very passionate with what we are associated with, right?
Yes, yes.
If you're owner of your flat, or you presently where you reside, so you're very passionate. You only will focus on that one unit in which you are residing with your family. However, somebody who is in your society, who you have elected him as a some person who is taking care of your society, elected member, nominated member, he is looking at the perspective of the entire block or the entire society. And similarly, when you go a slightly little higher, there will be a municipality which is looking of the hygiene needs of the entire area. And as you go up state and as you go up country, and there are even organizations who are looking at a global level. So we are generally fixated at the place where we are, and we want to improve that place. That is how the humans have evolved to what we are. And with this problem is that we are extremely fixated with doing our job properly. All right. But finally, we forget that where we are aligned with. Right. Our alignment is, if it is not synchronized with the business, we are actually not doing justice to the organization. We are actually doing injustice to the organization without even realizing or that fact. So each and every time when the review is happening, there are multiple stakeholders on the table, and the multiple stakeholders, their opinions are extremely important. It gives a clear indication whether the alignment is right, and wherever the alignment is not right, needs to be aligned, because finally security is business driven activity. We are protecting this business, means that because you have to also see that it is a big authority in your hand, because you can just give 5 reasons and stall the entire process. A business owner will ask for your advice, and you can give 5 6 jargons to that particular person, make him a little afraid, and you can stall the entire process, saying that it is not safe. So this is where your responsible, it's a very extremely responsible position where you have to align yourself with the business, and you have to see that your advice in the best interest of the organization and not in the best interest of the security per se.
I mean, it has to be a right balance. Yes.
Yes, yes. At times, we have to see that how we can facilitate certain things in the to let the business continue, at the same time protect it with all the resources what we have. So it says the security is here to support the interest and needs of the organization. Security is all balance between cost and benefit, and security and productivity and performance. Now, this is again a very good example that finally, what are you protecting? That should be the always in the back of when we have a server, or everybody behaves like server. So they make such a big noise about the server, but finally question needs to be asked that how critical that server is. If that server goes down, how it is impacting us. Now point is that this is not your job. This is to be this understanding should come with too much absolute clarity that categorizing an asset to be critical or not critical is not a job of information security manager. It is a job of business. All right, because he knows he is doing the business. He knows it is his data. He knows what is best. Which is critical, which is not critical, which is sensitive, which is not sensitive, which needs to be protected, which need not be protected. But finally, the categorization exists and adequately exists, and they have the understanding of how to categorize. Is your responsibility. If they lack understanding, then you must advise appropriately that no, I think you should categorize it in the, because there's so many sub departments and there's so many multiple subheads, it is impossible for you to get involved in totality with each and every one. But at the same time, when audit is happening or there are multiple mechanisms, and you find that their alignment is not in the correct direction, that you as a subject matter expert is duty bound to tell them that no, your categorization needs a little improvement, this may be more considered more critical, because it will impact. So those are the things which should be in the back of your mind as a information security manager. Cost and benefit analysis for security, from security perspective, and the productivity and performance, how your security architecture which you are designing for the enterprise, how it is aligning with this is extremely important. And it is never enough, profit security is that is never enough. Now even if you put 10 security guards, still there could be lapses, as we yesterday discussed with that example. And it is never enough. So where is there, we have to draw a line. We have to say that okay, fine, this is the best, in the best companies are doing up to this much, we are doing here. And what is the impact, finally what is going to be impacted, even if the loss happens, even the higher, what is going to be impacted, that defines, that one question itself gives the answer, and it clears all the problems. So when you say, even if it goes, even if it is hacked, what is the problem we are going to have? We already have a backup, right? We will restore. So somebody will say restore will take 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. So you say okay, fine, that is the impact, that we have a 5 hours downtime for a company, that is the impact. So you understand the problem statement, and from there on we build up. But rather than creating talking in terms of just listening some news that one company was down or some ransomware has hit that particular company, it generally people don't verify, or people don't analyze it with detail. They become afraid, they trust, get panicky, and they, because of the panic, they try to create unnecessary cloud of problems and blah blah and things like that. And sometimes it is totally opposite. They are totally unaware of what is happening in outside world, and they consider that anything and everything is a roadblock. So you see both kinds of acute examples, and where very rarely it happens that somebody is a centered person comes and he understands what you're saying. So either it will be acute on the plus side or acute on the minus side in most of the cases, right? So you have to tailor. That's what the point is, that it is never enough, and you have to tailor it to the specific organization needs. So when we say there is a framework or there is a already existing framework, the framework is amalgamation of best practices which over so many years in the industry they have come out with a framework. But eventually you have to tailor it to your needs. You cannot say that we are following that framework, it is the best industry practice and blah blah blah. But finally, does your organization need so much of things? Are we loading the organization with just to follow a particular framework with unnecessary complexities? So that is what is to be understood, and you have to tailor every time. It has to be tailored to the specific needs of the organization. So corporate governance is the definition of corporate governance by given by OECD. There's an Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. It says corporate governance involves a set of relationship between a company's management, its boards, its stakeholders, and other stakeholders. Corporate governance also provides a structure through which the objectives of the companies are set and the means of attaining these objectives and monitoring performance are determined. So that I think it says all what we have been discussing in past couple of minutes, that you have a present state, you have to reach to a desired state. It is a slightly long-term activity, and you need to develop a roadmap. Each roadmap will have desired goals and objectives associated with the business, and you will definitely need a means to to review those performance at a short notice, and then again modify your plan, modify your program based on the inputs you are getting from various stakeholders. The stakeholders like board of directors, managers, and even shareholders. Many times the stock for a bigger companies, even the stock market is giving a very big indication in that particular sector. For banking sector, what is good or bad for the banking sector, that is also a very good indicator, where which tells the the main managers that how things are being getting perceived at a share at the outside level, at the outside world, how people perceive our company. So that is a very complex. That is why governance is very complex. It is not an easy job, and it has to be always tailored. So that very specific thing is that each time you have tailor for specific organizational need, and after knowing all this information from various stakeholders.
Yes, yes.
So when we say corporate governance, we are now coming to the goals and objective of our business, right? So finally, we are doing governance for some goals and objectives, and they are what should be absolutely clear. And they normally designed by the board of directors, the C-level executives who are at the governance position. They are the ones who are designing these. They are the ones who are, communicating these to at the lower levels, and they are the ones who are taking, the decisions based on the goals and objectives of the org. So, corporate governance is a set of responsibilities and practices exercised by the board and executive management. And information security governance is a subset, and it includes providing strategic vision and direction, reaching security and business objectives, ensuring risks are managed appropriately and proactively, and verify that the enterprise resources are used responsibly. So this all is English. If you ask me, if you go by basic logic, if you are taking decisions based on basic logic, and yes, you definitely your mindset is aligned with the organizational needs, then everything falls in place. And when you actually review your decision and you see this slide, you will see that you are generally, following these principles. So that is why I will not let you. I will say that you remember this what it is over here, but I will definitely want you to do those questions, and then when you make a mistake, and then when you read the answer, and then you say, okay, fine. No, I was not actually thinking like manager. That is where the problem. So you're not targeting the question why it is wrong. You are target. The thing is that till your whatever education we have done, we are actually focusing on the fabric, right? Right. If you say we have done so much of in-depth analysis about a fabric, what it can be used, how to use it. Now you have to go to the thread level. You have to see what makes that fabric, and you have to analyze it little more deeply rather than feeling bad about why the question is wrong. You should feel bad about the problem with the mindset, because similar questions will be asked to you in multiple ways, and if your mindset is not evolved, then all of them will go wrong.
Okay.
And if your mindset is evolved, then you need not score 100%. So one not can go wrong, because there are some trickier ones which will be thrown at you, and which is a normal thing. But yes, if your mindset is evolved, you will definitely majority of the 7-8 questions from the topic, important topic which they send, which they give, you will be doing correct, and you will be getting the set right. So now coming at the outcome, present state, desired state. So what should be your desired state, and how what are these are the 6, I would say, pointers reach to that outcome which we want to achieve from our good corporate security governance, right? The first thing is that it is always aligned with, strategically aligned with business objective, business goals and objectives. Now this term you will see again and again in the question. Alignment with business goals and objective. Always there will be at least 5 to 6 questions on this one statement itself. You have to align with business goals and objectives. As far as the risk management, aim is you should be able to manage a risk effectively, correctly, and in the shortest possible time. Entire domain is dedicated to this one particular term. We will be covering domain 2. We will be covering it in detail over there. What is value?
Value is ultimately that's like how the balance of what do we need and it's secure. So the value is how much risk we are able to reduce without impacting much of the business objective or support business objective.
So that is your objective, no? That is your objective.
Strategy.
Goal. That is what you want to achieve. But what is value? I mean, if out of that we are talking of,
so value would be the risk that we, but that would be under risk management. Okay, I think this is only I could think that the value we would be delivering, like how much risk we are able, how much can we ensure that the organization is protected. The value that is being given by a security governance person.
okay, evaluate value in organization?
Like we meet all these stakeholders' need, and it's and in the controlled way that information is also protected. Like while the security is there, but the stakeholders' needs are met. So that's how the value is being driven in the more layman's terms.
Yeah, so there is always performance matrices which will be indicating how many breaches which are being reported, and
Mm.
those are the matrices, the performance matrices which will tell us, give us a feedback. So when we
Hmm.
look at Amazon, we buy something, it is immediately asking for a review. So the
Yes.
idea of review is that one is the instantaneous review, which tells that okay, the product, how it has reached, or the way they have done the sale, is it very good. Now after 1 month again, if they take a review, then the aim is that about the product itself, ki after using it for 1 month, how did you find it, the product, is it actually giving value in your life? And based on that feedback,
Hmm.
they will analyze and they will improvise. So similarly, there are multiple feedbacks which are required at for even for this process, wherein initial feedback, wherein probably whatever controls which you have designed, the stakeholder will say that yes, I am not finding much problem implementing those controls. So it will tell you that your controls are effective because the people have incorporated those controls in their processes. After a few
Yes.
months, or you will take again a feedback wherein again generate a matrix wherein you will get a clear indication that with the controls which you are designed and has been integrated, are they delivering or not delivering? If they are not
Hmm.
delivering, then you have to again analyze that have they not integrated it properly, or there is a problem with my control, or I have to modify my control. So there is the way we give value to the organization, and value delivery is always the intention, but finally whether the value you wanted to, what you intended, has finally reaching out or not, is based on the feedback we are getting from the environment.
Yes. Hmm.
Now, coming to resource management, it
That's
goes
like the
needless.
staff management. Yeah, staff management and non-staff management, right?
Yeah, staff and non-staff, and
Mhm.
yeah, that is one way of resources. Again, you may need other than staff also, you may need some softwares, you may need hardwares,
Yes.
all that needs managed. Third party management is extremely important, so they are also
Mm.
part of your resource. And what processes they are following, finally, from the information security perspective, the third party management or vendor management is a very important facet which should never be overlooked.
Mm. Mm.
Now coming to the performance management, we have already spoken during the value delivery. So you definitely keep generating your key performance indicators, key risk indicators, and these matrices are the good indication as to measure the performance of in overall terms when we talk of measurement of performance at enterprise.
Mm.
Now integration is an extremely important, although it is the last bullet.
Mm.
And if we see if we are saying that we are covering this topic in order of priority and we are
Mm.
keeping integration as the last bullet, then I think we should reverse it.
Okay.
Because if you are integrated with the processes, then your strategic alignment will happen automatically. You don't even have to factor strategic alignment at all.
Yeah,
So
I was thinking more like that, how strategic alignment and integration are different. Mm.
So strategic alignment is basically a concept in which you have to understand the strategy of your
Mm.
business.
Mm.
But here we are talking of integration of information security processes with the business processes.
Mm.
They are very different when you talk. They are very different. Now, when suppose a software needs to be written, it's a greenfield project, and a software needs to be, the code has to be written, and everything has to be done from the scratch, right?
Mm.
Now, in such a project, which at what stage of software development model will you take security into? You will factor information security.
Mm.
No, it should be from the design stage.
Yes, design stage. Yes, right.
It should be when you have obtained the user requirements from the user, and you are now collecting the software requirements, and when the SRS thing is over, and you are actually on the table at the design stage itself, you have
Mm.
to factor in information security.
Mm.
Many companies don't want to spend money. They don't want to hire an information security manager. They don't want undertake compliance checks at that stage. Don't want to factor information security. And at a later stage, when it becomes a problem, and then they want to go back, and that creates even more. It takes even more time, because now you have to go so many steps back, and you have to rework at where the fault was, or the change management challenge can be properly followed, not followed, the process was correct, was not correct. In fact, people don't even have a change management policy. Anybody can log in and do whatever it wants, and later on, that those kind, although the industry has evolved from all that, but those were the things which led to the change management in itself, because there were problems. People were not able to manage changes, right? So what I'm trying to say is that it is important to integrate information security at the grassroots level. And if the information security is integrated at the grassroots.
For full course video training, visit MildainTrainings.com. Register now.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.